You mentioned Eugene of Savoy.
Yeah.
Was he a contemporary of Marlborough, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I didn't realize Marlborough, that the War of Spanish Succession and
Yeah.
Georgia were that close together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, figure Marlborough's an old man when Eugene's a fairly, young guy. Oglethorpe's a downright teenager. A little bit later, is when we're talking about here. So there is kind of that military heritage from Marlborough all the way up to, this 1740s stuff.
Eugene offered his services to Napoleon, and Napoleon turned him down because he was so ugly.
Huh? Really?
That's the story.
Boy, I tell you, Eugene is a guy I would love to have on my side. Brilliant tactician.
He wound up running Austria pretty well.
Yep.
And the War of Jenkins' Ear.
Yes. Yeah. Or often called King George's War. That eventually kind of war blows up in Europe and it becomes War of Austrian Succession. But yeah, for those who don't know, Robert Jenkins was a British captain, a merchant captain under the Spanish Succession Treaty. The English were allowed to trade one ship per year in the Spanish Main. Well, that didn't happen. There was lots of English piracy and things like that. They were bringing in goods. The Spanish system really couldn't support their own colonies. So these English coming in, well, one of them being Robert Jenkins, and poor old Robert Jenkins gets captured by a Guardacosta, a Spanish naval ship. And what happens is, at least how the legend goes, they cut off his ear. The Spanish officer cuts off his ear, gives it back to him, and tells him, "Show this to King George. This is what we do to English pirate dogs." Jenkins actually pickles the ear. This gets back actually to England, and there's some debate over this. And actually, I don't believe that he ever actually presented to Parliament, like many people say, because it looks like he was actually at sea when he supposedly did that. But whether or not he presented to Parliament or spoke to a parliamentarian in a coffee shop, this becomes this rallying point for those in Parliament who had wanted war against Spain. And so this thing, most ridiculous named war of all times, War of Jenkins' Ear, happens because this guy's pickled ear can be displayed to the members of Parliament. The British Prime Minister was a guy named Robert Walpole, absolutely dead set against war, thought it was a very bad idea for England at the time, and he finds himself kind of pushed over, and he finds himself as a wartime Prime Minister, and that was not at all what he had been wanting to do. But a great name for a war, the War of Jenkins' Ear. John Burke.
And your position?
I'm a park ranger with the National Park Service.